In the peg basket pod pattern, it can be a little tricky to pin the side piece onto the front and the back. This requires going around the curve, and sometimes it feels like it's not going to quite match up. And depending on your fabrics, some fabrics are really easy to work around, and some don't want to quite stretch and fit, or they might be a little tighter. So you want to pin it from the middle and the bottom, and then back up at the top. And I'll show in this video how I do it. So first I start with the middle of the side piece, and I pin it to the bottom of the middle of the front piece. Then I take the end of the side piece and I pin it to the top of the front piece. And I do the same on the other side. And then I start working my way from the bottom back up to the top, pinning about every 1.5 inches or so. And you want to do it loosely. You don't want to pull and tug at this point, or you will wind up really uneven. You want to just loosely kind of move the side piece around that curve, but not pull and stretch it yet. When you get to this part toward the top, sometimes it feels like there's a little extra fabric on either the front piece or the side piece, and it looks like it's not going to quite work out. But at that point, you can kind of stretch and pull them, and and just try to lessen any big gaps in one place. And then once you sew the pieces together, your machine will work it out. Even though it looks like there might be a little bit extra, there shouldn't be enough to create a large fold. It should just maybe there's just a little bit of an extra gap, but it should be pretty small. I do the same for the back piece, working from the middle bottom and pinning at the top, and then working my way from the middle of the bottom back up to the top. And the reason why I do that is because the bottom has more curve, and so you want to make sure you have that part pinned down in the way that it wants to curve, and so in the way that the side piece wants to curve around that bottom. And then when you get to sort of the straighter part toward the top, then you can sort of work out any gaps. And you can see I'm kind of pulling and looking and kind of lining them up and adjusting any of those differences because especially since your fabric is on a curve, it's on the bias, so it will want to stretch. You don't want to stretch it too much, or you will wind up with even more unevenness. And here it is, all sewn together. You can see that even though I had a little bit of a gap toward the top where I pinned it, once I sewed those together, the sewing machine kind of erased those little gaps because there wasn't enough for it to actually be a fold. And the tops line up, the bottom is in the middle where it should be, so there's no unevenness from side to side.